Chapter 1, Day 4. Things are looking up. As long as I don't say anything stupid, Eiji should be willing to help out soon. Gotta be very careful with what I say and do inside the Empyrean. Let's do this. But first, is that what I think it is? You walked up to the car for a closer look at what happened at what appeared to be blood smeared on the car's rear end. He leaned in to sniff the dried red liquid, which confirmed his suspicion. This is definitely blood. What happened here? A bar fight? The marks would make sense if you bashed someone's head against the back door. If I stare too hard, the man might pop out the billboard and smack me. Old world citizens had a lot to spend paper on. The old world was all about a few people hoarding most of the resources while the majority lived off of scraps. Kinda like what Sanctus is trying to do, huh? No amount of magic can get this junk running. An old recruitment poster by a nomad group. Place to be if you want to hang out with drunk dudes and a weird maid girl. Welcome back, Master. Lively as ever, aren't you? Would you prefer a gloomy greeting? Welcome back. Just kidding. Be careful doing that to other customers. It might not work as smoothly. Oh, but everyone's nice in the Empyrean. Except herders, that is. But the regulars are really fun to talk to. Fun for a doorman, maybe. Master? Well, that's good to hear. I'm glad you enjoy whatever torture Eiji's putting you through. Torture? I enjoy my job, really. Sure, looks that way. Yep, your friendly maid is always here to cheer you up. I'm fine, thanks. Can I go now? Oh, of course, I'm sorry for holding you up. No harm done. Perfect, enjoy your stay, Master. What do you want? D-boy is afraid of a little blood, ain't that grand? I'm sure he means we have nothing to do with whatever it is you're talking about. Maybe ask Ayame. It would be her job to clean that up anyway. Good point. I might just do that. So how did that fake biochip turn out for you? Looks like Nobu here is still alive. It's a multiple choice question. A. Nobu has no balls. Or B. Nobu's balls are so microscopic that they might as well not exist. Screw you, asshole. I'm just waiting for the right opportunity. Overtunity, he said. I misread that. I talked about this before, you know. Opportunity. You heard me. Can't just walk into the Sanctus camp so they can blow my head off. When's the right time, then? When you're sober? That ain't ever gonna happen. The time will come. Good luck with that. Sanctus ain't all sunshine and rainbows. I can drink to that, Captain Obvious. Making Eiji leave. Man, I'm stumped. Wish you could go back to your Dulchalton days? Prancing around looking for junk that might be a wee bit more valuable than other junk? It ain't happening unless you hop into a time machine. If time machines existed, we'd have time travelers among us right about now. What do you know about anything? For one, your crew botched the Golden Dream hunt so bad it was the failure of the century. Even if you did go back to your old ways, what else is there that can be considered treasure? Maybe they crawl in them sewers and find Septimus's golden crap. That ought to fetch a fortune from collector folks. Odds are I understand the market better than some redneck self-proclaimed hero in a dingy bar, but I have to agree with you there. Treasure hunting's an oversaturated business. We'll have to really think outside the box if we want to find something new. I'm not too concerned about that, though. Eiji just isn't fit for a desk job. Maybe so, but you have to look at things from his perspective. After a life of adventure highlighted by an epic failure, who wouldn't want to settle down? He might look tough on the outside, but who knows how badly he was scarred on the inside back then. Running this bar also gives him a chance to play the Good Samaritan. That has to be a comfortable position to be in after you've been through some crazy shit. Looks like there are just too many perks to staying at the Empyrean to run around with a brat like you. He's still done quite nicely for sure. Is this really the life for Eiji, though? There may be an angle I can exploit here. But what is it? The Empyrean's been around for roughly 2 years. Could it be that Eiji has grown an insufferable fondness for this place? Is it his concern for the bar's regulars that's stopping him from joining me and bringing Miho back? blink of an eye, Sogeki's knife flew through the air, narrowly missing you. Will you at least stop staring? Fine. Don't even dare blame that on me just because I'm the guy with the knife. That's racist. Racist probably isn't the word you're looking for. Is that so? Why don't I carve a dictionary on your face then? Care to try? Cheeky asshole. You're skilled with a knife. You're insightful enough to make spot-on observations on how nomad groups operate. You come here every night. Clearly you haven't stepped on enough toes to be on the run, yet stabbing people is your expertise. Correction, I'm good at throwing knives, too. Never missed a mark. You smirk smugly. Sogeki stared and clicked his tongue. Not when I intend to kill them, at least. Right. The point is, what do you do for a living exactly? Professional killers never stay in one place. If mugging people is your thing, it gets hard to do your job in a place everyone knows is a hotbed of racketeers. I'm a consultant. Sogeki rolled up his left sleeve to reveal a biochip on his arm covered by skin. Sanctus allocates valuable resources to ensure their higher-ups don't fall into a ditch. That, or do something equally stupid. No way. Unbelievable, right? So don't bother asking me about it. If you're such a hotshot, what are you doing in this humble dump? Shouldn't you be sharing luxury wine with your clients? Ever been in a room with a stuck-up high and mighty Sanctus brass? It's as suffocating as you can imagine. I didn't think you were the type to cave under pressure. If by that you mean the pressure not to kill insufferable creatures who should be swimming in radioactive waste, then yeah, I'd rather choke on my own spit. I'm impressed. You almost sound legit. Wish I had something more exciting for your simple brain, like that I kill people and eat their brains or something. Sadly, that's just not the case. Isn't keeping Sanctus officials scratch-free a full-time stint? How can you drink leisurely in the Empyrean every night with that kind of job description? Those pigs never leave their fancy chambers at night. Hell, they spend most of their days in there. You gotta wonder what they need me for sometimes. The only threats against their safety are assassins. Funny thing is, you'd have to be a publicly known official first before a bounty is put on your head. Most of these officials are shrouded in mystery. You do the math. So your real job is to keep them from shooting themselves in the foot. How'd you score a racket like that? It's the long story of long stories. Put simply, I had an impressive resume and they hired me for it. That doesn't sound too far-fetched, I suppose. I'm not trying to convince you. I don't believe much of anything either. The real truths in this world only come out when I put Darla against someone's throat. You don't have to go that far for me to be straight with you, really. And the sky is hot pink. Riddle me this then, Mr. Consultant. What do you think happened to Eiji's nomad group? I'm not asking for historical facts or your interpretation of the various rumors about it. Given the circumstances, why would Eiji part with this commune? Why don't you just give it a rest? If Eiji wanted to burn bridges, he had every right to. I know. I'm asking for your professional opinion on the matter. Sogeki sighed, defeated, seeing there be no fending off you whose inquisitive eyes never once wavered. Nomad leaders often have the same problems depending on the tribe's population. Smaller groups may be easier to maintain, but they're more vulnerable to outside forces. It's not unheard of for smaller groups to harass larger groups, whether it's to steal all their supplies, or force them to merge, in which case it's the new blood that'll be forced to do the more dangerous tasks for their new overlords. I've always avoided groups, but I know what you're talking about. Hunting, stealing, exploring potentially radioactive areas. You'll need tough, often unwilling volunteers for these. Unless you have expendables, new recruits eager to prove their worth. When your tribe gets assimilated by a larger one, you either die trying to secure a place in the pack, or you get left behind. And it's the leader's responsibility to keep everyone alive. The leader also has to decide whether the group should stay smaller or increase its numbers. That's what you're saying, right? That about sums it up. Leaders of larger groups have a different set of problems. They cannot downsize without causing internal conflicts. One wrong move can lead to a dog-eat-dog scenario. Then everyone's dead before you know it. Leaders' decisions determine whether the tribe has to hunt for smaller groups. Then they have to decide whether these small fry are to be assimilated or not. They need to keep the group's numbers in check and be charismatic and dominant enough to be followed. They must win the respect of the majority to maintain order. Sometimes they have to deal with uprisings and political maneuvering as well. When the group grows too large, it's the leader's call if there's a need to discard a few bodies and how. Among those many problems, I don't see anything that can stop Eiji. He's pretty strong for someone who chose the easy life behind a bar counter. I thought so too. If I was a betting man, I'd put my money on indecision. That doesn't sound like something Eiji has any trouble with. If you haven't noticed, pretty gruesome things happen to smaller groups when they're taken over. The big fish feeds on the anchovies. When they're not assimilated, the smaller groups are fucked with. Eiji must have acted like most leaders out of necessity, and being at the top took its toll. Can you decide with a straight face that a number of people must be led to their deaths for the good of everyone else? I've stayed away from groups to avoid those awkward situations in the first place. I don't know how Eiji got a big Kyamin for himself. Whether he killed the former leader or he had an enterprising mindset, I have no idea. But all the tough calls he had to make and the sacrifice he had to take along the way could have played a role in his decision to leave the top spot. This is all speculation, though. In all the years we've known each other, he never once mentioned being a leader of any group. Your guess is as good as mine. Doesn't look like Sokeki has any insider info. Sounds like an honest man proud of his work showing me how it's done. Eiji, what the hell happened? What terrible joke does he have in store for me this time? Looks like he's injured. His hands are all wrapped up. Thinking hard about your next joke. No, never. But I'm glad you like him. I don't, really. Alright then, it's time for a new hilarious joke. Are you ready for this? Whatever. We've been through this before, so why not? Perfect. So there are two fish in a tank. What does one fish say to the other fish? It's cramped in here. Is this the drive and shoot thing? Nope, the fish in the tank told the other fish, how do you drive this thing? Damn it. Wait, there's more. There is. Of course there is. What'd the other fish say? I can never guess. The other fish said, holy mackerel, it's a talking fish! That was so funny it blew your mind, right? Admit it. It was mind-blowingly dumb, that's for sure. Oh, you are so boring. Where's your sense of humor? Out of your reach, I'd say. So I'm kind of curious what his profile has. Bad joke machine. So we can't examine back here. What's this again? Oh, the biochip. No dead bodies in there. Painting. What is it this time? Herders paid you a visit again? No. That stupid piece of crap won't work. Ah, the radio's broken. Should be something you can easily fix. If that were the case, I wouldn't be so annoyed right now. Whoa, take it easy, old man. Let me take a look at that. You inspected the broken radio, pressing all of its buttons and turning the tuning wheel. It made no sounds no matter which frequency he tried to tune into. The lights were on, however. It's powered up, but it's not doing anything. Got that right. What a piece of crap! No point getting all riled up about it. Anger clouds judgment, right? Or have you lost the ability to control your temper after only a couple of years? I don't need a lecture from you. This garbage should be working, but it isn't. Jeez, why are you so worked up? I have an idea why, but I probably shouldn't tell him. Don't want to hurt his pride. Fine, let me at it, okay? I'll get the radio running in a jiffy. From the looks of it, I can't do anything much without tinkering with the radio's insides. You have a screwdriver I can use? If I did, I'd have dissected that dumb radio a decade ago. So that's the problem. You really don't have a screwdriver lying around. That's strange. Do I look like a toolbox to you? Before you ask, it's been a while since I ran maintenance on my crossbow. Fair enough. I'll have to come back later once I can open the broken radio then. So let's go to the Sanctus camp. Say, have you seen that bloodstained car outside? I'm pretty sure there was no blood there last night. Huh? Blood? I don't know about that. Where'd you see it exactly? Exit and turn right. You can't miss it. Okay. I have to clean that up before Eiji gets mad. Thank you. No problem. How can anyone not notice that on the way here? If the incident that caused it was recent, someone from inside this bar must have heard. What happened to your hands? Oh, you want to hear a joke about hands? No, I was just wondering how a skillful comedian could possibly hurt himself. Is that really a mystery? Injuries happen all the time. Why else would first aid kits be worth so much? They wouldn't even give me one in exchange for one of my jokes. I'm pretty sure no one wants to barter for jokes that even children would scoff at. You wouldn't know a comedic genius if you saw one. I can tell which comedians are terrible at it, though. Hey, there's a car outside with blood all over the rear end. Did you hurt yourself on the way here or something? Interesting. I've never heard of that setup before. What's the punchline? I'm not trying to tell you a joke here. There really is blood outside. It wasn't there last night. Strange. I haven't heard of anyone fighting inside or outside the Empyrean recently. Or are you still setting me up for the punchline? Nope, no punchlines. I had to ask just in case. Not him, huh? Wonder what that blood's all about. So yeah, nothing there. You stood next to the car to examine it. You noticed some shiny object inside the car. That's... I should be able to fix Eiji's radio with that screwdriver. I should be ready to repair the radio. Hopefully it doesn't have missing transistors or a broken coil. Otherwise, finding replacement parts will be a pain in the butt. Found yourself a screwdriver? Let me see that. Eiji grabbed the screwdriver out to use hand before you could react. Eiji examined the tool and dusted it off with his fingers. He tried to bend it as if making sure it was in good condition. Perfect. As long as the radio has no broken parts, this will do the trick. That's what I said. You didn't say anything. Never mind. Are you sure you can handle it? Won't you need a magnifying glass or something? It'll take decades before my eyes go bad, idiot. I asked in jest. There's probably no one who can rival Eiji's sharp vision. His weapon of choice allows him to attack from long range, and this is a fact he frequently uses to his advantage. He can shoot targets through practically opaque windows without even squinting. Whatever you say. A few minutes ago you were pulling your hair out over that radio. Only because I lacked the tool I needed. Eiji tapped the screwdrivers pointed on the table as he looked at you. Now get lost. I don't need you supervising how I fix this thing. A shy performer as always. I just don't want any distractions. Fair enough. Honestly, I don't like having anyone looking over my shoulder when I'm doing anything either. Even the always dependable Eiji should feel the same. That looks really similar to a radio I had. The volume is set to low. I better turn it all the way up so we can hear the broadcasts better. We're ready for headbanging sounds now. First things first, I gotta turn the radio on. There, all powered up. So if you notice, every time I turn this, the red bar moves. That's nice. Gotta hand it to the hardworking people who still bother to operate music radio stations. Did you know that the pioneers respected and worshipped Lord Septimus? Well, it is true that Lord Septimus founded Sanctus years after the pioneers went above ground. It's a matter of chicken and egg, really. Lord Septimus is still widely regarded as the savior who made it possible to live above ground in the first place. His Holiness built Novus Tokyo from the ground up, too, before Old Tokyo became uninhabitable. It was a crazy jungle dominated by ravenous predators who fed on humans. Thanks to his divine architectural and social engineering genius, Lord Septimus single-handedly freed humanity from the abyssal underground shelters. Hail Lord Septimus. The same old station for Sanctus propaganda. You must be really bored if you listen to this. Anyone's listening? This, please remember, our sacrifice shall not in vain. Needs of the many, the few, unyielding spirit, iron. Did you hear that? I'm right next to you. What could have happened to those people? Eiji did not answer as he solemnly stood there, seemingly lost in deep thought. After a few long seconds, he shrugged as he looked square at the inquisitive Yu. Who knows? Yu did not say anything, nor did he think Eiji's query warranted a reply. He did have a gut feeling that the broadcast struck Eiji to the core. Could it have been a purely emotional response, or did something else bother Eiji? Yu tried to find an answer in his mind. Another freeloader in my bar, eh? Have you seen the blood on the car outside? That's something you'd want cleaned up, right? Or did you perform some sort of blood ritual? What the hell are you talking about? Whose blood and where and how? Like I said, just outside. On the car, you'll see when you leave this place and turn right. Whoever scraped himself there better clean up. The car you're talking about is all old and rusty. An infection waiting to happen. Doesn't look like Eiji knows anything about it. Do I really want to talk about Eiji's golden days with nomads? He seems seriously guarded about the topic. If I make a wrong move now, he'll shut me out and I'll be back to square one. If he'll even still allow me to visit this place, that is. Before I pursue this topic, I should have sufficient evidence I can use for leverage. I can't just accuse him of things and expect him to welcome me with open arms if I get facts wrong. So am I really ready to talk about this? So, we'll take one last look around. Nothing there. Nothing there. Nothing there. So yeah, I guess we were good to go. Oh, crap. I'm ready. Somewhere down the line there must be a benefit in exploring Eiji's past. I might be able to find something that'll give him enough motivation to join me in tracking down Noah's Ark. As long as I proceed with caution, digging into the subject must turn fruitful, somehow. Know what? I think it's unfair. Yeah, people are working hard and you're here bothering those hard-working people for entertainment. The harsh reality of life. I don't mean that. I'm talking about something else. We've known each other for too long. No need to beat around the bush. Exactly. Well, yes. No. I mean, that's exactly it. We've known each other for a very long time, and that's why it's unfair. I'm still not catching on. If you're saying my refusal to go on a wild goose chase is unfair, it's not that. I understand your reasoning 100%. In some ways, you're right. As far as Noah's Ark is concerned, I am absolutely right. True, but that's beside the point, really. What's the point, then? How long has it been since we first came up with the idea to start a treasure hunting group? Before Midori, Toshio, Gunther, or Hayami, it was just us three. You, Miho, and me. For the record, Der Chultan was your invention. I never even imagined myself running around looking for treasure. You chuckled heartfully for the first time in a long while. Eiji's words took him several years back. Eiji's words took him several years back to when Eiji was far from being well-dressed, the well-dressed bartender who stood in front of him now. That could have been worded a little bit better. That's true. Who would have thought, right? I was around 12 years old when we started hanging out. You were as broody as your sister was sunny. What an interesting mix. Back then, I was always on edge. I trusted no one. I simply assumed everyone was trying to kill the little boy and his sister. In fact, that's what almost happened. While you reminisced, Ayame walked by to fill the glass center tray with alcoholic drinks for the Empyrean's customers. This did not stop you. He glanced at the main girl before turning to Eiji again and continuing his story. I was formidable for my age, but the bandits overwhelmed Miho and me. I guess they didn't want the troublemaker that I was, so they only took Miho. I'd like to think I was strong-willed, but they were on wheels. They were gone before I could finish throwing a punch. The thought that my sister was gone quickly sunk my body to the ground. I've never felt so heavy since. You did carry that heavy baggage on your shoulders. Keeping yourself and someone else alive without relying on an adult, that's something most kids could not even imagine doing. Well, at that point, I've been doing it for what? 5 years? Maybe 6? I had to learn a lot of things the hard way. I bet. I remember being astounded by how you were able to shield Miho from the horrors of existing in this wretched world. She never had to lift a finger. I never let anything even as small as a fly cause her any harm. But they came out of nowhere. They rode these loud motorcycles, but we couldn't hide in time even though we heard them coming. They were a real menace for sure. Back in those days, no one had countermeasures for gangs on bikes. The pests went out of fashion eventually, though. Too bad they attacked us at a time when they dominated the wastelands. They circled around us like predators toying with their prey. I was disarmed before I could put up a fight. I shouted as loud as I could at them. More like barking, really, but I had no bite. Miho couldn't do anything. She was 10, and she just shook in place while holding onto a piece of my clothing. She whispered, "Let's get out of here." But what could I do? Eiji fell silent as he listened to Yu's tale. It was a story Eiji was well familiar with, but this was the first time Yu recounted in detail how it all unfolded. My resistance was pointless. In an instant, the bikers drove away and left me literally in the dust. The fumes from their bikes mixed with the dust their wheels kicked up and messed with my eyesight. By the time I regained my vision, they'd already taken my sister away. Don't feel too bad for yourself. Even a grown man wouldn't know what to do in that situation. Biker gangs often took their targets by surprise. They hit places where it would be difficult to hide, and nothing would block their swift escape. My only regret is that I could not protect Miho. I'd always been successful up until that point. That's probably why I was so devastated. I was thrown into a circumstance new to me, and Miho was not there to help me fight through it. I figured my best shot at getting her back was to go to the nearest town and see if I could learn anything about the gang that took her. Gotta hand it to you, kid. You kept a level head and made the right call despite having had your only family taken from you. I'm not sure my head was all that clear. I just followed what seemed to be the most logical course of action, almost instinctively. No one really talked to me about the gangs, though. You were a hellraiser. Went into a fit of rage whenever someone declined to help you out. You know it's every man for himself. You paused to look up at Eiji upon hearing this revelation. Confusion was painted on his features as he threw Eiji a questioning gaze. You knew about that. Before I stepped in, I had already seen you causing a commotion. You were so full of vigor it was impossible not to hear of your fury from a mile away. I had to put a stop to it for the sake of my own sanity. My ears were ringing in annoyance, so I sought you out. You rested his hands on the counter. It was his turn to hear Eiji's side of the story, perhaps uncover something new from a mutual distant past. Specifically, they recalled the turn of events which led them to cross paths for the first time. What I found was a lot less ferocious than I imagined, but also a lot more annoying. You had such a tiny frame back then, yet you were full of vigor. Showed no signs of hunger and desperation that almost everyone else had. Life was especially difficult for your age. Nomad groups don't usually take in the young and the useless. Somehow you had a full tank that you were burning all out by screaming at strangers who refused to listen. I was running low on fuel by the time you found me, though. That much was obvious. When I got to you, you were on the ground crying on your knees. You went from an energetic cub to a whining, pathetic lump of lame in mere seconds. That's when you approached me, right? You ran out of batteries. I took that chance to approach you and ask what the hell was going on. I don't even remember what I told you back then anymore. I'm not surprised. You'd been reduced to a sniveling loser at that point. Young Yu bawled his heart out, tears pouring out of his swelling eyes. His face was still covered with soot and dust. His fists clenched tightly as they rested on the asphalt. His screeching voice could be heard from afar. It was the first time, since parting with his parents, he had always used his own strength to keep himself and his younger sister alive. For the first time, Yu was desperate. He no longer had the strength to get up on his feet. The rumbling noise from his empty stomach became inconsequential. The pain caused by the damage he sustained from the marauding biker gang was overshadowed by his aching heart. Finding any solution was futile, he thought. His spirit surrendered to the unwinnable dilemma. The man who stood next to him had an expression impossible to paint. A petty vexation undermined the dash of sympathy. He looked down to the young Yu. He waited for an opportunity to speak to the crying child once the sobbing stopped. "Stop crying, you idiot. You're wasting your precious energy on some nonsense. Tell me what's wrong." Little Yu heard the man, but it took a while for his bawling to stop and turn into an uncontrollable sniveling. My sister." "Your sister what? Go on, kid, I don't have all day." "The bikers." "Then you took another one, huh? Tough luck." As if Eiji's words struck a nerve, Yu glared up at him and life instantly came back to his once defeated eyes. "She's alive. Don't talk like she's already dead." "Well, I'll be damned, kid. What are you acting like it's all over for, then?" "What do you want me to do? They came and went on those stupid bikes. I don't know where they took her. No one wants to tell me. Everyone is fucking useless." Eiji was speechless. It was rare to hear such strong words from a child. Any other kid would be begging for help, Eiji thought. At age 12, Yu saw life from a different perspective. "He's been through a lot, huh? Poor kid. It's hard enough for an adult to swim out here without anyone to rely on." "Where are your parents, kid? You should go tell them." "Miho. She's my only family. You can't even begin to understand how it feels to lose someone as important as her." "For a crybaby, you sure talk like an adult." "You're in luck, kid. I know where the local gang's hideout is, and they owe me. I can pay them a visit. With even more luck, I might find your sister alive in there." Yu sprung up from his knees and lunged at Eiji. He grabbed the older man by the clothes and shot a piercing glare at him. Tell me where they are and I'll kill them all." "Whoa, calm the hell down." Eiji's suggestion meant nothing to the kid, who started shaking him like a tree. Eiji realized there was no stopping Yu. The child somehow mustered the energy to be up on his feet after weeping hopelessly just moments ago. The only way he could do this without anything getting in the way, Eiji thought, was to silence Yu for a while. Eiji landed a blow square on young Yu's stomach with enough force to make him fall on his knees. "You failed to protect your sister. Let me show you how it's done, alright?" Eiji looked down and watched Yu crawl into a ball, writhing in pain. Yu was crying again. At that moment, Eiji had a sudden understanding of the child in front of him. He's not crying because of the pain from my blow. He's crying because he knows I'm right, that he failed to protect his only family after doing his best for Septimus knows how long. What a heroic wannabe prick. Was I really so full of angst back then? You were a damn embarrassment. You were so pathetic. Then you had to do something for me, right? I told you I had a score to settle with that gang in the first place. Really? Because you never told me what that score was. Nothing special. They were assholes to everyone. We had an altercation once and they got away. Whatever you say, Eiji. I'm glad you came back with Miho when you did. My only hope of seeing my sister again was a stranger's words. It drove me insane. Storming the fort was no cakewalk, I'll give you that. I was more of an upfront beat-down kid kind of guy back then. No snooping around to pick targets off. Toshio's crossbow changed my life. Yeah, you saved Miho in probably the most gruesome way imaginable. What kind of monster do you think I am? Your clothes were all red. You pretty much bathed in blood. Come to think of it, it's a miracle how Miho wasn't traumatized by whatever you did. I'm a cautious operator. Of course I didn't want the little girl to see any of the nasty stuff. I got the job done no matter what it took, unlike someone I know. Hey, I'm not complaining, but here's what's unfair. Since then, you've seen Miho and me grow up. You even gave Miho baths a few times. You know more about us than anyone in Derchalton, yet after asking around this bar, I realized how little I actually know about you. Eiji paused for a few seconds. Can't be helped. Some things are best left in the past. But I'm an open book to you. All I want to know is what happened with your supposed involvement with nomad groups. When we met, you were a lone wolf. Did you actually eat your friends like one of the many rumors suggests? I don't even want to imagine what human meat tastes like. There's nothing to my past. I lived with nomads for a while. Big deal, everyone does. Except you, that is. I was surprised you were on your own when most kids your age would be doing gopher work for scraps. This is the moment of truth. There is no turning back. After that long-winded reminiscing, this is the perfect time to dig deeper and see if I can change his mind about Miho and the Ark. He's saying there's nothing to his past, but that can't be right. I know he's keeping something from me, and I just need to wake him up. Which angle should I exploit? Alright, I got something now. Let's see. Kind of leaning towards the broadcast we just saw. You looked awfully uneasy listening to that broadcast. Must be seeing things. I could hear the butterflies fluttering in your stomach, Eiji. When was the last time you cleaned your ears? Must be the worms having a party in there. Oh, I see. So you felt nothing when you heard the distress call from someone taking his final breaths. The needs of the many, I think they said. Whoever we're listening to, they were part of a nomad group that got axed. But I guess that wouldn't ring any bells, would it? What? You want me to acknowledge the commonly known fact that things happen? Mission accomplished, you. Perfect. Now let's talk about the exact same thing how the exact same thing happened to your nomad group many years ago. Before you went off wandering on your own, some tragedy struck the pack you were leading, so you had to disperse. Or maybe you just couldn't take the heat and left the kitchen. You? I know. I can't possibly understand what you went through. I've never had to make tough decisions which determine whether people would live or die. Except, that one time. It's completely different. Eiji's deadpan expression quickly turned sour. Going after the golden dream, it was a choice for all of us. We knew the risk and the payoff. We stood by our decision and paid dearly for it. Leading a nomad group isn't about getting everyone's opinion on the matter before moving forward. Far from it. Those guys on the radio? They wanted to sound heroic at the very end, but that's just a facade. When you're on the verge of inevitable, possibly meaningless death, you find a way to convince yourself that you're not going to perish in vain. Meaningless? Eiji, they were making a sacrifice? Like hell they were. No one would choose to be left for dead if they had a say in the matter. You mean their deaths? Their deaths were not in vain. It was most probably a well-meaning, calculated decision that decreed they be left behind. That's the only way the others could afford to move on and search for greener pastures. There must have been dissent within the group, but they knew full well that they couldn't go on the way they were. So now they just shedded skin like a snake to lose weight. To convince those who remain that they are not in danger of dying meaningless deaths, the sacrifices are set out on a mission. Maybe to retrieve supplies from a booby-trapped stash or mug a high-value target. But these deaths are so arbitrary. Throwing your life away just because someone said so, when it could have been someone else laid to rest. Your sacrifice loses meaning when you realize it didn't have to be you. Unless you volunteer, which almost never happens, life is taken away from you by those who choose to preserve theirs. It's messed up, and you have to convince yourself that you're facing the Reaper for a good cause. Those who fail to do this go nuts and either kill themselves or try to take someone else with them. He was speechless. It took a few minutes of recomposing his thoughts before he could remind himself of his objective. Eiji, you must have had to make a lot of tough calls, huh? You have no idea, kid. You have no idea. Tell me, what happened to your old group? Did it disband? Did you really leave? Eiji had no words to offer in return. Those were no glory days of mine, I can tell you that. Once again, Eiji refused to budge. I shouldn't press him any further. By the look of things, a little more discomfort and he's bound to kick me out again. Better play it safe. At least it's probably safe to assume the connection is there between nomad groups in his past. There may be a less imposing way to learn about it. I think I know why you'd rather close the door on the past. You say it was no big deal, but partying with your old crew was the most important moment of your life. It certainly wasn't another Tuesday. I think you're spouting nonsense because you have no idea what you're talking about. How about that? Believe it or not, I consulted one of Sanctus's top think tanks for this. I'm inclined to agree with the rumors about you being a former nomad leader being true. And given the challenges faced by nomad groups everywhere, you had to make some scathing decisions. All the tough calls took their toll, until you couldn't take it anymore. Eiji listened quietly, both disinterest and slight annoyance painted on his face. I hate to say this, but everyone folds under pressure. Everyone. Eventually, you did too, so you left your commune to search for the meaning of life or whatever. That was right before we met. The rest is history. Revisionist history, more like it? I'd like to say history is written by the victors, but there are no winners in this conversation. We're both wasting our time. I suppose history can be written by nosy little pricks as well. Maybe the face-stabbing, knife-flipping alcoholic consultant made a wrong assessment. Imagine that. Eiji's probably worried about what's going to happen to the Empyrean's regulars if he leaves, huh? Come to think of it, we don't even need to go that far back. You and I, we both have pasts we'd rather leave behind. Yes, and while we're at it, let us agree that the dead stay dead. We've both lost loved ones. Dead people become memories of the past, and that past will never catch up to the present. I'll reserve my opinion on that for later, once the kid genius tells me he was somehow wrong about Noah's Ark. Anyway, that's besides the point. The real issue here is more recent, the past 2 years to be exact. Really now? I don't know how you secured a place like this, but the last 2 years must have been real fruitful. The Empyrean ain't exactly a booming business. You couldn't care less about that. Your real purpose in staying here. It's definitely not that you got tired of all the excitement back in the day. You told me once before, that in movement there is life. The only difference between the living and the dead is that the living breathe and move. So why are you staying in one place? The answer is simple. And that is? Turning your back on your philosophy is quite the statement. It's clear to me that you found something more important than survival. This bar, it's more symbolic than anything. Did the door hit your head on the way here? No, but maybe you did, because going from survival to servitude is a pretty huge change. You found something more valuable than life, or rather you found a new meaning for life. We're in a place where the distraught can forget their worries with booze. It's rather poetic, considering you're the type who'd go on treasure hunts for the selfish benefit of your own group. Something changed in Eiji's eyes that took you aback. This momentary pause allowed Eiji to take the helm. What do you know about servitude? What? All your life, you've never had to worry about anything other than Miho's survival and yours. I cannot call you selfish given that fact, but you've always lived in this small world in your head where there's only room for you and your little sister. Service is not as simple as doing something for someone else. Until you understand this basic fact, you have no business telling me what's important in life and what isn't. Eiji, what the heck are you talking about? This is elementary, you. Someone whose motivation is so straightforward can't possibly understand what it means to really serve someone. This has something to do with your former nomad group, doesn't it? Whatever. Come on, I'm not going to be satisfied with whatever. I don't know why your past as nomad is such a touchy subject. Good thing I don't really care what satisfies you and what doesn't, then. You don't like how I'm treating you? Door's open. Eiji. That's probably as far as I can go with this line of questioning. Eiji still won't budge. Maybe I have no choice but to do the special measures Midori was talking about. Boss, where are you going? Eiji seemingly stormed out of the bar, drawing the attention of the customers, if only for a short moment. Eiji, our conversation must have been tough on him. I've never been in a position to decide who lives or dies, but I understand how it feels to be hounded by bad memories. Was I too hard on him? Boss, he looked really down. I've never seen him that way before. I'm sorry. Huh? Did you two have an argument? No, it's nothing. Forget what I said. Okay? So, which way are you supposed to go? This could be my only chance to snoop around and learn Eiji's secrets, but should I? If he ever finds out, I'll never hear the end of it. I have a bad feeling about this, but I have to do it. I can take an earful if it gives me a chance to recruit Eiji. The trick is to not get caught. It's a risk I have to take if I'm able to convince Eiji to join me. I'll need leverage. Hopefully I can find something in there that'll give me an edge. Gotta do it without getting caught. I have to be quick and find out as much as I can before Eiji comes back. The restroom is this way, right? You asked loud enough for everyone else to hear. Master, that's not... You went through the curtain in a hurry, pretending not to hear Ayame's warning. No bodies hang from meat hooks, so I'll consider this a good sign. This is no chocolate factory, but I have to find something. Something I can use convince Eiji with. There's an opening that seems to be like a keycard slot. What else could you put inside? Sure doesn't look like I'm supposed to plug a cable in it. Nothing happened. A bottle of vodka. A bottle of Galliano. It looks so worn out, but I bet Eiji's still terrifying with this crossbow. Toshio wouldn't let a creation of his be of subpar quality, after all. The thing is probably still deadlier than cutting-edge Sanctus weapons. What's a shiny-looking card doing here just lying around? Might as well pick it up. A bottle of triple sec. Reminiscing the earthquake that shook Edo in 1855. Edo being Old Tokyo, if I remember correctly. Seikanron debate of 1873. Will history repeat itself? That one I have no idea about. Rice riots of 1918. North Kyushu flood death toll exceeds 1,000, June 1953. What's this? A recipe. Wait, no. I recognize some of these words. Vodka, triple sec, golden dream. These are cocktails. Eiji must have them listed down in case he forgets. So I'm wondering, am I supposed to write that down? It's a sink. You pour liquid you don't like in it. There's nobody that seems like a car key slot. Yeah, but can we actually plug this in? Okay, that time it worked, but... You inserted a card in the slot. Nothing. There must be more to this contraption than meets the eye. Which means Eiji is trying to hide something. And I could strike gold if I could figure out the trick behind this. Yeah, I figured there was going to be more spaces here once I could only use the red key on the one bottle. A list of cocktails, a barman's best friend. Maybe he has memorized the list. The list if he keeps it around. A traveling bag. Eiji's not planning to leave anytime soon, is he? Can't be. He's an immovable object as far as leaving the Empyrean is concerned. Double lock. That's a couple locks too many. Not to mention it's on his bed. Must be something he wants close to him. Whatever's inside, he's not willing to share. I'm sorry, Eiji, but I gotta do what I gotta do. Keys must be in here somewhere. Another shiny card, except a different color. Female clothes? What are they doing here? Right, Ayame. There are too many safe places for such a friendly girl to stay at. Having a place to stay must be one of the perks of being Eiji's doormat. You took a closer look at the hanging clothes, inspecting them with both hands. Here's something slip through the fabric and fall on the ground. Another one of those key cards. Better take this. A pair of gloves. You never know when you'll need them. Another card. If there was money in this, I'd be filthy rich. Damn it, you get a hold of yourself. I don't have time to waste. Angie could barge in at any minute. I better find something useful before that happens. It's closed. Won't budge, and forcing open's not an option. If I'm lucky, there'll be a way to open it and treasure is inside. One can hope, right? Some sort of rope. An ordinary chair. You'll have to try harder than that if you're to keep anything from me, Eiji. But then again, I'm probably not supposed to be here. Can't click on that. I offer no reputation. My sin is vile. Please believe me when I say inside my heart is not evil. Only well wishes for you remain beneath the veil. As mere man accepting my weakness is what it means to live. Is this really Eiji's writing? What's with the formality? I guess an old man will always be an old man. These statues are wearing funny hats. They look like antiques that might barter well with old folks. Some letters showed up on the display. Wonder what that means. Well, that did something, I think. That button did something. I wonder what happens if I... The statue moved when you tried to nudge it. That's interesting. Is this another lock mechanism? Maybe something to do with the direction they're facing. Might as well give it a shot. So there's a few different words I can make here. I have this set up wrong. Okay, so when I click on them, they turn counterclockwise. And they alternate between E-V-I-L. So you can spell live, evil, vile, veil. So let's try veil since that word came up. I'm off. Okay, so they don't actually behave the same way. That complicates things a lot. Yeah, it spells out vile. This time evil. Veil. Yeah, so they're not even synchronized. That's annoying, man. And this time it's live. I think it opened something. Better check that out. There you go, look at that. A hidden key. Eiji must be behind something he really doesn't want to be found if he went through the trouble of hiding this key behind an inconspicuous puzzle. That's an inconspicuous puzzle? So yeah, I think every word I listed was actually used right there. How do I... There we go. I've matched all the keycards with the right slots. Should try pressing the button and see if they do anything now. So pressing a button transfers liquid from the bottle to the cup over there. You know when I'm playing with liquor here, I probably have to mix the right cocktail for something to happen. Oops, doesn't look like I got it right. I should try again. Okay, so for this part we need to write these down. Cream... Well, I'm gonna spell it creme. Creme plus gall equals gold... Or wait. We'll call it gold cad. 3x plus gall equals gold dream. That's the one I want to try first. 3x plus vod equals cos. Creme plus vod equals mart. 3x plus creme equals dirty. Okay. So, triple sec plus this one gives you the golden dream. I'm actually surprised I have the Smirnoff logo on that. That does the trick. Okay, so it was the golden dream. You had to hit that, then the red button. That wasn't very intuitive. Who would have thought? The golden dream holds one of Eiji's keys. Old man, no matter how hard you try to hide it, it's clear to me that you care about Derjalton. Very much so if you want to be reminded of the Kinkakuji so often. Anyway, Eiji must be behind something really important if you had to go through so much trouble just to hide one little key. There you go, just one more to unlock and Eiji will bear it all. Unless he's hiding rotten food in there, that is. Great, that did it. Let's see what you've been trying to hide, Eiji. I hope you don't mind. Well, I'm sure you would, but I have to do this for Miho. No mistaking it now, Eiji. You value the D-phone that much, huh? I'm sure you didn't hide it in your trunk for safekeeping because of its barter value. If you wanted to keep yourself from calling us, you could have just thrown that thing away. Somehow, I really doubt this is here because it's Eiji's only music player and he wants to save it for a time when he needs to be accompanied with an awesome soundtrack. It's over, Eiji. There's no point in putting up a resistance. We can't fight them off anymore. We have more women and children than able-bodied fighters. I told you to steel your heart and temper your resolve. I told you to lead with an iron fist. Now it's come to this. It's all over. The vermin, Sigda's attack dogs, the mad angels. I knew it. A recording that's extremely valuable to Eiji. What's this? A family photo? That little girl sure doesn't look like Eiji as a kid, and he's not the father either. Could Eiji be? What do they call it? Cross-dressing? I can't believe Eiji would do such a thing. Snap out of it, you. There's no way Eiji would dress up as someone's mother. It's obvious, isn't it? Eiji's not in the photo. This family must be one of his acquaintance or something. Former nomads under his group, perhaps? Maybe there's something behind the photo that'll answer all my questions. Just gotta turn it over and... This is the only memory that'll hold us together now, dear Aya-chan. So keep it close to your heart and never let it go. Your smile will remind us to stay strong so that someday we can be together again. This is Ayame's photo as a child of their family. Does this have something to do with the sin Eiji was referring to in his letter? But what did he do exactly? I can't imagine Eiji abducting her just so he could have a maid to greet people in the Empyrean. Eiji, what the hell does this mean? They don't let you examine the dude. Oh well. So we'll hit her, then skip. I can't stay in this basement for too long, or else Eiji might catch me snooping around. If he just took a breather outside, he'd be on his way any minute now. Better put things back the way they were and get out of here. You would put his best effort into restoring the room to its former state, hoping Eiji wouldn't notice someone scrounged through his belongings. Phew, that was tough. Never knew it could even get that big. You made sure everyone heard his paltry excuse for staying in the basement for too long. No one seemed to care except Ayame. Master, are you okay? I hope you didn't ruin your stomach or anything. Nah, I'm good. My intestines are tougher than metal pipes, and that probably helps a lot. Is that even possible? Sure is. You slapped his belly to show his gastronomic fortitude. The tank's all good. If you say so, Master. Good girl. I don't know what Eiji owes you, but you seem to be in good shape. Maybe the situation between them is not so bad after all. Anyway, no point in staying here any longer. As soon as you leaves the Empyrean, the D-phone rings. It's Midori right on time. How'd you do that? Do what? Always calling with perfect timing right after I leave Eiji's bar. Are you spying on me? Or are you hiding behind that building over there? Hey, don't be silly. I actually called you later than usual this time, didn't I? I was running errands, so I was worried you'd already be asleep when I called you. Oh, well, I was doing some errands too. For Eiji? No, what makes you think that? You said you just left his bar. That's true. I guess you can say I did errands for him without him knowing. Sounds suspicious. You know how it is. Can't get the old man to help out with the Ark if I don't have some sort of leverage. And what's this leverage you're talking about? I'm not sure I should tell. What? Hey, that's not fair. It wouldn't be fair to Eiji if I did. But you're the one digging up his secrets, so we're accomplices. Partners in crime, huh? But not this time. At least not yet. It's that serious, huh? Kind of. Well, I'm not actually sure of anything yet. But I have an inkling that there's something Eiji wouldn't want a lot of people to know about. You? I know what you're thinking, but I assure you, I wouldn't be doing this if not for Miho. I'll do anything to get her back. What are you talking about, you? I'm on your side. I will never think harshly of you. Thanks. So if this really has to be between you and Eiji, then I will not impose on you two. But be careful, okay? You don't want to hurt Eiji's feelings so much to a point where he'd hate you. Of course not. Everything's gonna be fine. That's the spirit. I'll leave you to your detective work then. You take care over there. I'm out. Bye. I try to sound confident, but I have my work cut out for me. I have to make sense of the shady relationship between Eiji and Ayame, but the important question is how. All I have is circumstantial evidence that gives me ample reason to believe Eiji's doing something he actively regrets. His handwritten letter is undeniable proof of that. On the flip side, this seems like a problem Eiji would be grateful to have taken off his hands. Looking back to what I know so far, Ayame is happily employed in Eiji's bar. How the two ended up in the Empyrean together is anyone's guess. I never really thought about it, but it would make sense if Ayame is playing doormat in exchange for supplies. Food, medicine. Eiji's an expert at requisitioning your daily wasteland needs. Ayame might be doing it either for herself or her family. Does Eiji have enough to feed an entire family, though? Must be a pain in the neck just trying to keep the Empyrean stocked. And that photo. If Ayame already reunited with her parents, Eiji would want to give them the photo back, right? Or rather, wait a minute. Why does Eiji even have that valuable thing in his trunk? If it's Ayame's only memory of her folks, why is she letting Eiji keep it? Was it a conscious decision on her part? Or was Eiji hiding it without her knowledge? I'm not going anywhere just by standing here and making random guesses. Can I actually figure this out without confronting Eiji directly? Wait a minute. Think back, you. The two must have already said something indicative of what's going on between them. The way Eiji's letter sounded, it's not something you can easily put under the rug. Try to remember. Before he sat down, you couldn't help but notice the annoyed look on Eiji's face. You look like you're having a tough night. Damn herders keep buzzing around like flies. If I could just swat them without getting Sanctus dog sicked on me, we'd have less mouths to feed around here. Herders were here? They were. They dropped by rather frequently. I guess taking trips to the local watering hole isn't beyond their divine nature. They enjoy their nights out too often, if you ask me. Be careful doing that to other customers. It might not work as smoothly. Oh, but everyone's nice in the Empyrean. Except herders, that is. But the regulars are really fun to talk to. Fun for a doormat, maybe. Herders. Could it be? I've heard of similar stories before. Herders taking in young boys and girls in exchange for sustenance from the family left behind. Indoctrination is most effective when you start while they're young. Children raised by herders tend to be the most loyal to Sanctus when they grow up. The only reason why Mio and I aren't crazy for Septimus is because our parents kept our feet on the ground. That's as far as my memory serves, anyway. I'll have all the time in the world to think about it in the settlement. The blood's still there. The top floors must have collapsed. Dilapidated buildings tend to do that. The building isn't deserted, that's for sure. Wonder how many people live in there. No one's gonna drive these anytime soon. Not really seeing anything new, but we're missing the guard out here. Ayame, what's she doing here? Does she stay in the settlement too? Are you sure? Can you please check? No. Now get out of my sight. Please. My parents could be in there. Let me just take a peek. I said no. You're not even chipped. Get lost before I shoot you. That doesn't look good. Should I help out? Hold it right there, peeps. No need to get all heated up. The girl's just looking for her parents. Master? What are you? We're not in the Empyrean anymore, and you shouldn't ever call me Master in the first place. Give me at least one good reason why I shouldn't shoot you clowns. This settlement is for Sanctus believers to rest. Calm down, Chief. I'll take care of this. Let me escort the girl out of here. No harm done, right? No harm yet. Piss off before I pull the trigger. Aye, sir. Off we go, maid girl. You grabbed Ayame's hand and pulled her away from the guard, hurrying into the distance. The girl in maid costume had no choice but to lift her feet as she was dragged away from the Sanctus settlement. I never would have reckoned Eiji's barmaid is really just a little girl looking for her missing parents. Missing parents? What are you talking about? I was there from the very beginning. You were asking the grumpy guard to check if your parents were still in the settlement. No use trying to hide anything. Please promise you won't tell Eiji. Pretty please, Master? Whoa. She'd be cute if she dropped the Master thing. Huh? Nothing. Forget about it. If you say so, Master. Please don't tell Boss about this. Why not? Eiji's a good guy. If you told him your plight, he'd help you out in a heartbeat. I know, but it's not that simple, okay? Eiji, the boss is occupied with all sorts of things. Running the Empyrean, procuring resources to make sure the bar is well stocked. A lot of people rely on him, you know? He simply has no time for finding my parents, who may not even be alive anyway. Is that why you're tolerating it all? Huh? Tolerating what exactly? Eiji is so good to me. If anything, he's the one tolerating me. I bet. So where are your parents anyway? What makes you think they'll drop by the settlement? It's been a long time since we last saw each other. I don't really know for sure that they'll be coming around. Call it intuition, I guess. They say there's an invisible, unbreakable bond between parent and child, and that is why, no matter how far you are from each other, you can still feel the bond you share with your parents. When you're hurt, they'll know about it. And it works the other way around, too. That's why I try to be cheerful all the time, so that they won't feel any sadness coming from me. I don't know about that. Without our parents, just me and Miho for a long time. I never felt anything in particular, so either this bond is broken when you're neglected by your parents, or it doesn't exist at all. Anyway, isn't it about time you head on home, or do you sleep in the settlement as well? You're right. It's time to go home. Thanks for saving me from that scary guard, Master. Hey, wait. Before you can ask where Ayame slept at night, the nimble girl already bounced off a good distance away from him, disappearing into the dark streets of Akihabara. She must have known her way around, you thought, for her to be able to move about without any apparent fear for her safety. You was left with no other choice but head back to the settlement, hoping you could finally put the pieces together while tucked in bed. That damn girl. How am I supposed to find her damn parents? Didn't that fancy-ass bartender tell her they're in the boonies? Hey, what was that? Oh, you're that guy who took the maid girl away. That I am. You seem to be thinking aloud about her parents. Sanctus tells us to be of kind heart, just like Lord Septimus himself. She keeps coming back again and again, and I just can't tell her. She ain't never gonna see her parents if she stays in Tokyo. Rends my heart, you hear? Lord Septimus bless her. What are you talking about? You know where her parents are? Well, I don't know for sure whether the bartender was talking crazy or what. That maid girl works at the Empyrean, right? Right. Before I took this post, I went to drink a lot at the Empyrean. That was quite some time ago, and the maid girl, what's her name, wasn't as lively as she is now. Her name's Ayame. Ayame, yes. I remember Eiji bringing her in. I often bumped glasses with Eiji, know what I mean? So, sometimes we talked. We talk sometimes, right? Yes. I wish this guy would just get to the point. Yeah, so I asked him, what's up with that girl, right? Eiji didn't want to talk about it at first, but you know what booze does to people, right? Right, I do. So one time it was just the two of us because it was past midnight and all, right? So he told me, while brandishing a bottle of vodka, spilling its contents all over. Now to think of it, that was some good vodka. How could you waste it like that? If I could have a full bottle of vodka, imagine! I'm sure that would be heavenly, but can we please get back on track? What did he say while brandishing a bottle of vodka? Oh, about that girl. Eiji saved her from some herders, right? That's what he said anyway. But he was so drunk. I'm not sure he still knew what was coming out of his mouth anymore, right? That's definitely something Eiji would do. But what I don't understand is what sin she was referring to. Huh? Sin? The Empyrean is a goddamn sin, I'll tell you what. Drinking is bad, know what I mean? Your head gets all hazy and Lord Septimus isn't able to reach you in that state, right? I guess you wouldn't know, huh? You mentioned something about Ayame's parents. Yes, I did. Weren't you listening? Eiji was completely trashed, right? So he told me Ayame wanted to go back to her parents in Gunma, right? Eiji was having none of that. He said he told the girl that Gunma is now Sanctus territory, right? So there's no point in going back because she'll find nothing there. Is it really that bad out there in Gunma? Who knows? Ayame keeps on coming back thinking her parents must have left already for Tokyo, right? So she probably doesn't believe Gunma is under tight Sanctus control, right? You're employed by Sanctus, how can you not know? Just a lowly guard, know what I mean? I do what I'm told, Zol. Gunma. I can't exactly search an entire prefecture and expect to find Ayame's parents. What? You're gonna try to find Maygirl's parents? It's impossible, right? I don't know about that. Eiji said Ayame's parents are a couple of cabbage farmers. How many cabbage farms can there be in Gunma? When was the last time you saw cabbage in your rations, right? I can't stand the way he speaks, but he has a point. I have no other leads anyway. Badgering Eiji every night can only do so much. Gunma. If I leave in the morning, I should be able to come up with something. So are you coming in or not? You sleep here, right? Ah, sure. Now if you don't mind.